Hey, I'm Shaun Cooper from Taking Back Sunday. No, I've only been around Renzo like twice, but you know, I've rolled with all the Sarah guys, all the dudes that are in the UFC, from Chris Weidman to we got Al Quinta and Aljamain Sterling. He's like one of the new what is he, 135 or 145? I don't know. He's strong as hell, so I can't tell the difference when we're training together. But yeah, man, we've got a lot of good guys, and I roll with Matt all the time, and he's just an animal. He is so smooth. You know, he's just one of the smoothest guys, and his top pressure is ridiculous. So I'm lucky to get to train with those guys. And I've only seen Renzo around, but he's awesome. He's such a magnetic personality. Anytime I've like shaken his hand, you just feel like you're a member of his family immediately. So he's a rad dude. You feel so safe, being kept in the dark. You know you never stood a chance. You know you never stood a chance, 'cause you said safe. Yeah, well, Chris Weidman, obviously, he's the champ. You know, beat Anderson Silva twice, which, you know, was shocked the world again. I always love Vanderlei. You know, he's an old school favorite of mine. Crow Cop was so much fun to watch back in the day, and Fedor, all those dudes. BJ Penn was a favorite. I'm excited to see his rematch with Frankie Edgar, who's also part of like the team too. So it's like this local guy versus the legend. You know, that's gonna be fun. Who else? I always loved Chuck Liddell. You know, he was at the top when I was getting back into the sport. You know, because I'm kind of a tough noob again. You know, so yeah, all those guys. Yeah, big fan. I'm probably leaving out so many, but. You feel so safe, being kept in the dark. You know you never stood a chance. You know you never stood. Man, I don't know. You know, I think there are some guys that take a lot of punishment, and you know, it's always scared of me. I hate when fights, you can tell a guy is out on his feet, and he for some reason he won't go down. Something is his will to survive or something is keeping him on his feet. But who was it? Costas Filippo, who used to train with us. He was in a fight with a dude. I forget the guy's name. I don't think he's in the UFC anymore, but he just kept landing shots on this poor guy, and he wouldn't go down. He was tough as nails. But I was just like, oh, stop it, stop the fight. So I think in those instances, I mean, it's really up to the corner and the fighter. If they know their fighter, if they know he's going to continue, you know. It's really hard. Like if I was in Brock Lesnar's corner when he fought Shane Carwin, I probably would have thrown in the towel for that. But obviously he was able to go on to the second round and get the arm triangle and stuff like that. So I mean, who knows? I think it's such a personal thing between the corner and the fighter that they know that relationship better than anyone. And it's hard for me to tell which, you know. You know you never stood a chance. You feel so safe. I don't like any of that stuff. I think it's dirty, you know. The TRT thing, it's such a gray area that I don't really understand it. I think it's better off if everyone's clean. I mean, you're punching people in the head or kicking people in the head. If you're stronger because you've been taking these drugs to get ahead, that's a scary thing. You know, you're not hitting a ball over a fence. You're not putting a ball through a hoop. Really, people's lives can be on the line. So if you're doing anything to that's not natural, I don't particularly like it. You know, I think it is a way to cheat, but I think there are legitimate uses for the TRT thing. Like, I feel like Dan Henderson might be one of those guys who legitimately needs it. Then I think there are other people who might not. I don't know. I don't want to say who I think those guys might be, but I think it's obvious. But yeah, I'd prefer the sport to be 100% clean. I don't know that you'll ever get it, but you know, fingers crossed. It's still a young sport, still evolving. No, I haven't. You know, my Muay Thai level isn't up to par where I can spar with the guys in the gym yet. You know, I still have a long time to go there. But I cracked my head on a tour bus one day, and I was concussed. And I knew how long it took me to recover. Just playing a show that night was terrifying. This is disgusting. A band we were on tour with, their bus was parked next to ours, and their pee tank from their bus had leaked out. I guess it overflowed, so it was all over the floor right next to our bus. So I was trying to avoid the puddle of urine, and while doing that I wasn't looking at where the bus was, So somehow, avoiding the puddle of pee, I smashed my head flat into their bus, and I was walking in to do an interview, and my speech was all slurred, and I remember going back to the bus, and the guys are like, "Why are you talking funny?" Because I was like, blah, 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 blah. I went to the hospital a couple days later. It's like, well, you probably have, you know, a minor thing, you know, minor concussion. They weren't even calling it concussion. But that stuff is scary, and I don't get punched in the head every day. I don't go to spar. I'm not getting rocked constantly. And I just knew it probably was like 3 months before I felt 100% back to normal. So it's a terrifying thing. So I think, you know, if someone's knocked out cold in a fight, they should probably have a good long time off before they train again, before they spar, before they get back in the cage. You know, it's a bad thing. You know, you see it with a lot of pro wrestlers too, with the Chris Benoit thing, you know, all those years ago, and you know, like the brain of like an 80-year-old man with Alzheimer's or something, I think was the rumor going around, and that's no good. You know, you want your athletes to be able to continue and have a good life, and you don't want to see guys punch drunk when they retire from the sport, like a lot of boxers unfortunately are. You know, so I think something has to be watched. You know, I think people have to watch themselves in training, and their coaches need to watch. Oh, if you get KO'd or TKO'd in sparring bad, maybe you shouldn't take that fight. Maybe you need time off, or maybe people need to train a little smarter too, a little safer. Hell no. Just my friends that I see do the amateur fights, just on that level. The amount of time and the amount of work that goes into it. You know, it's not that like I'm scared to get punched in the face or anything like that. It's just the work to drop the weight, to get in that kind of shape. That scares me more than anything, because I see how dedicated these guys are, and you know, touring with the band and being on the road, I don't have the time to get in the shape or to get as good. You know, the amateur ranks are getting so good, and the athletes are so good, especially in our region. There's a lot of great wrestlers who are freak athletes and training wrestling from the time they're 5 years old. So they're super strong and super skilled, and like, you know, I see the guys that come into the gym on a daily basis. I know I can't hang with them, so I just enjoy the training and getting to be around all these guys. One of our good brown belts has a good way of saying it. You know, training with guys like Matt or with Weidman, or you know, any of the UFC caliber guys. He's like, it's like I'm a musician, but on the weekends I get to play with my friend Jimi Hendrix. You know, so that's how I feel. It's like, it's my hobby, but I get to train with these great dudes, and I just get to be around, and it's just such a great atmosphere. That's how I like to spend my free time when I'm home. But yeah, no fights in my future. Hopefully. That's tough. I never thought about it, because I knew I'd never have a fight. Like, I know a lot of my friends. Probably, I don't know, something maybe by Pantera to get me motivated or something like that. You know, I'm into a lot of punk rock, but like Pantera kind of gets me going, so probably something like that. I heard that Brock broke the Undertaker's win streak. That was like the big gossip, right, from the thing. So that was interesting. That surprised me to hear. You know, I was a big pro wrestling fan growing up, and the more I got into MMA, the more I got away from WWE. I still respect what the guys do and think it's rad, but yeah, that was the one thing I knew that was going on. I was like, no one's gonna break the Undertaker's win streak. It's gonna be some young up and comer. I didn't think Brock would take it, but I think that's interesting. It got everyone talking. I'm talking. I know about it, you know. So good for them. It's insane. I don't know what's going on there. Someone's getting paid to keep it out. I don't like it. It's ridiculous, you know. You got 2 world champs in 2 of like the most exciting divisions right now in MMA from New York. You got John Bones Jones, he's from upstate. You got Weidman from Long Island, you know, and all these guys who are making names for themselves just from my gym alone. You know, it's crazy. So it's something has to be done. I think, I don't know, it's criminal is what's going on, and it's a shame. It's such a normal sport to me, you know? Like, if you can box in New York State, you should be able to do MMA. If you can do all these things separately, if you can have a jiu-jitsu competition, you can have a kickboxing bout, you can have a Muay Thai bout, you can have wrestling, you can have it, but you just can't do it together, it's asinine. You know, these people gotta get it together.